many more details have come out around the story of Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio. Now we're finding out that a lot of it was just lies, that it was intentional disinformation being spread in this community. I'm going to summarize this a little bit, and you can fill in the blanks after Alan. For folks who don't know, Haitians have temporary protection status. They were encouraged to come to Springfield, Ohio, because there was the population was declining. Ohio, of course, has been hit hard by the lack of manufacturing jobs. And so they were encouraged to come to Springfield, Ohio, to help to build the economy. And they have. They have. The data shows it. And the temporary protection status, that began TPS under Obama in 2010. That's correct, right, Alan? In 2010 under Obama? Right. And for all the babbling about Donald Trump would renew it when he was in office. So isn't it funny? Just kind of makes me laugh, right? And there have been a higher number of Haitian immigrants who have come to the Springfield, Ohio. I knew from the very beginning that these were lies, and although I don't have any kind of Caribbean background, the way that Black Caribbeans and especially Black folks from West Africa are demonized around eating animals and voodoo and all these, and Santeria and Yoruba and ritual sacrifices, I knew what this was getting at. This is a long time story of the African and the Caribbean savages, if you will. Nothing new. It's an old school trope, right? So there was a woman reportedly named Erica Lee who spread this rumor about Haitian immigrants, and she put it on social media. And I want to read the post. Warning to all about our beloved pets and those around us. My neighbor informed me that her daughter's friend had lost her cat. She checked pages, kennels, asked around, etc. One day she came home from work. As soon as she stepped out of her car, looked towards a neighbor's house where Haitians live, and saw her cat hanging from a branch, like you do a deer for butchering, and they were carving it up to eat. I've been told they are doing this to dogs. They have been doing it in Snyder Park with the ducks and geese. And I was told that last bit by rangers and police. Please keep a close eye on these animals. Well, Erica Lee lied. This was not true. Listen briefly to this clip explaining how she spread lies about Haitian immigrants. Keep the mic on. I don't play the entire clip. Listen to this.
NBC News has now spoken to a woman. Her name is Erica Lee, and she's the woman behind one of those viral posts claiming that her neighbor's cat was kidnapped and saying that it may have been at the hands of Haitian neighbors. She tells us at NBC News she has now deleted the post, that it was wrong, that she misinterpreted a neighbor's story. She just texted me, quote, I messed up royally, and she said she never meant to cause so much hate against this one group of people. And so, Alex, again, the frustration here.
Turn it off. But all of this was debunked by the governor, who's a Republican, the mayor, other people who live in Springfield, Ohio. But nonetheless, Republicans have fed into this lie. And I want you to hear J.D. Vance just yesterday, admitting, saying the quiet part out loud, that he says, if I have to create stories, listen to this.
The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to,
But it wasn't just a meme,
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast. You had one interview with her. You talk about pushing back against me, Dana. You didn't push back against the fact that she cast the deciding vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which is why a lot of Americans can't afford food and housing.
You just said that you're creating a story.
Public policy.
Sir, you just said that you're creating the story.
What's that, Dana?
You just said that this is a story that you created. So the eating dogs and cats thing is not.
We are creating. We are.
Turn it off. So let me tell you, as somebody who wrote a book on history, about the danger of creating a story about marginalized communities. This is from a Black American perspective, and for all my Black Americans listening, this is what they did to us, and they still do it to this day as well. But we were the main targets of this. Somebody created a story, and you have Black Wall Street burnt to the ground. Somebody created a story, and you have Emmett Till lynched. Somebody created a story, and you have Elaine, Arkansas, Wilmington, North Carolina, Rosewood, Florida. Somebody created a story, and you have the nameless, faceless people, some folks will never know, men, women, and children who lost their lives because of a rumor, and then people in power making it a story. So I want all of us to realize the way we see Haitians being treated, they do it to them, they're going to do it to us because they've done it to us before. We can't fall for these Southern strategy 101 tactics. For folks who may not know, what is the Southern strategy? It was a plan that began under Barry Goldwater and Richard Nixon to use fear to incentivize their base. You know other stories that were created? The welfare queen narrative that Ronald Reagan put out there. That this Black woman was making all this money sitting around on welfare. Come to find out that wasn't true, and it's unclear if she was even Black. The Willie Horton ad, 1988, under George Bush. Oh my gosh, these Black people are being let out on weekend furlough programs, and they're going to come to the suburbs and kill all you precious white folks. And that was when, between Michael Dukakis and George Bush, that was when the election really shifted. When Bush created that story. Folks who worked in Richard Nixon administration admits that we have to be sure that we can't outwardly make it illegal to live life as a Black person, but we'll put it this war on drugs. This creating a story has a deep, deep impact on communities. And lastly, I'll say this. In 2016, 20% of people of Haitian ancestry voted for Donald Trump. 20%. I don't have the numbers from 2020. I couldn't find it. But we do know in 2020, 73% of Haitian Americans, 73% voted in Florida. I don't have the exact numbers of how they voted. That's an extremely high registration rate. That is really I really admire that. And there are some documents, some data showing that immigrants vote when they're able to vote, they're here legally. They vote at high numbers because they have a different value for the election system than we may have. Some of us take it for granted. So my question is, after I broke all that down to our Haitian brothers and sisters, 20% is way too high. Are you going to stand by this white supremacist? Are you going to stand by people who are creating stories about your community? Because don't think it's just going to be in Springfield. It's going to be in Florida. It's going to be in New York. It's going to be everywhere. Do you stand by this guy? Maybe you didn't care about shithole countries, but do you stand by this guy? 20% voting for Donald Trump? 20%? And this isn't even about illegal immigration. The majority of Haitians who are there legally. They're there under TPS, which Donald Trump renewed. I think at one point he tried to reverse it, and maybe he did. Nonetheless, at one point he renewed it. And this is where we are right now. So for all of the folks, if they come for them, they're coming for us. So now I knew from the beginning it was a lie. I didn't even need a fact check. I could just tell you, because our history will tell you how they treat people from the Caribbean, from West Africa. So whether you are Haitian American, whether you are Black American, whether you are in Florida, whether you are in Georgia, I don't know what more you need, not only from Trump, but from the GOP at large. Mm. Go ahead, Alvin. I should add that Alvin himself is also of Haitian ancestry.
And I'm currently a board member of Haitian Bridge Alliance, which is the largest immigrant organization that services Haitians in the United States, from San Diego. If you're looking for a good organization to support with money right now, that's a good one, because they're going to be in Springfield later this week, where Trump is planning to have a rally. I think the first thing that we should sort of talk about for me is that how easy people believe the lie, right? So if I said on Facebook I saw Bigfoot, I posted it, no one's going to believe that. No one's going to run with that story. But how easily everybody took up on the story and made it a thing is number one, without verification. Number two, with the elected officials, right? J.D. Vance is a sitting senator of Ohio. He could have researched the information and called the police department.
He could have made a phone call.
Right, he didn't call. There were no reports. Local people said that there were no reports. And so therefore, he didn't even verify the information. So for me, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And if you can't be trusted with small things, you definitely can't be trusted with the security of the United States, because he didn't even verify it before he started telling the story. And Donald Trump then said it on a major stage in front of millions of people, therefore verifying and pushing the lie out even further. Third thing, Haitians did not just arrive in the United States yesterday. They have been here for centuries, all over the United States. New York, Florida is the highest population, followed by New York, followed by Chicago, then California. So therefore, you've had Haitian people from the diaspora of Haiti in the United States for years, and you've never heard this story before. So how is it all of a sudden that a unique group of Haitians in one small town in Ohio all of a sudden started doing something that all the other Haitians in all these other popular areas are not doing, and you just believe it verifiably? That's bigger than that, right? Let's look in the immigration context, because that's my wheelhouse. When did this happen before? It happened in the 1800s. And who did it happen to? Chinese nationals. And what did they do to Chinese nationals in the 1840s? They made the Chinese Exclusion Act, excluding Chinese immigrants from coming to this country based on them being less than human. That's the point. That's the angle. That's the story. That's what they're trying to do, is to dehumanize people. So when they get back in office, they can say, oh, you know what? We don't want any more people from that country or this country or whatever country that sort of goes on that sort of story. That's the issue that they're coming from an immigration context.